So this is the new Honor Magic V5 foldable device, and it's kind of new but not new. It's new because this is the global version. So we can now all enjoy what this is all about. And right now, there aren't that many foldable smartphones that can compete. We have the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, which we reviewed on the channel. So if you haven't seen it, go see that. It's premium. It feels really good and solid. It's here. I'm still using it. But now we have this, which is also a solid device, which also rectifies some of the issues that I've got with the Z Fold 7. So when it comes to things like your battery life, your charging speed, even camera capabilities, I think this solves a lot of that issues. This is the Dawn Gold version, so it's just really nice and premium. It feels really good. I love the brush finishing and so much more. But let's get into it. So Honor says this is the world's thinnest foldable smartphone, and very thin it really is. It's very thin, whether it's folded up like this, whether it's unfolded, it's very thin. And also carries the largest battery in a foldable device. It's very big. When it comes to the thickness of the V5, basically it depends on which color you go for. So this particular version here is thicker. We're talking 4.2 millimeters thick when it's unfolded like this. And then when you fold it back up, it's a bit thicker. We're talking 9 millimeters thick. If you get the ivory white version, then it reduces it a bit to 8.8 millimeters thick and then 4.1 millimeters when it comes to the unfolded state. When it comes to the weight, this will depend on the color you go for as well. You're talking around 217 grams, which isn't too bad at all. It feels very light and also solid at the same time, which is impressive when you consider the battery size that's in there as well of 5,820 milliamp hour. And that's because they use silicon carbon technology to pack in all that power. This, when it comes to charging, is fast as well. We're talking 66 watts wired fast charging and 50 watt wireless charging, which is way more than what you'd get with the Z Fold 7. When it comes to the screen size, we're talking 6.43 inch external display that we got here. And then when we open it up, we're talking a 7.95 inch display, which is really big, allows you to watch your movies, game, multitask, and so much more. With that inner display as well, it allows you to run up to 3 applications at the same time, but we'll come back to that. And then this also supports Honor Magic Pen as well, so that will work on both the front and the back display, which is a bonus. This is IP58 and 59 rated for water and dust resistance, and it's running Snapdragon 8 Elite, really powerful. And you're talking 5,000 nits of peak brightness on the inside and outside as well, so very bright, especially in those bright sunlight situations, you still be able to see properly. We have 120 Hz LTPO technology on inside and outside, which is good, and 4,320 Hz PWM dimming. So it just has everything you need for this to be a really, really premium product that's useful, functional, and just works really well. Onto the camera on the front, we have a 20 megapixel camera, which is f2.2, I believe. And then on the back, we get this big camera array here, which houses those triple camera setup that we've got in there as well. So we have a 64 megapixel periscope telephoto lens, which is f2.5, supports 3 times optical zoom, and then you can zoom a bit more, which AI then kicks in for those super res stuff, AI manipulation. And then we have 50 megapixel main camera at f1.6 and 50 megapixel ultra wide, which gives you 122 degrees of field of view. We have 7 years of OS and security updates as well, which is decent. I think that's pretty normal these days on most Android devices, so that's nothing to worry about there. When it comes to camera capabilities, as long as you're happy with the processing, I think it does a really good job. So for example, a selfie shot of me in this shot here, it looks really good. Good skin tone, I can zoom in, I can still see a lot of detail in there thanks to that 20 megapixel camera on the front. And then when it comes to the low light situations as well, I think that works really well. It kind of gives you all the detail, good highlight levels. And even when you look further down for the dynamic range, it looks really good. All the colors are retained and it's not added too much processing that becomes a bit artificial, which is something that on the devices in the past for me would normally do. They're very contrasty, which isn't too bad depending on the day and so on. So for example, this shot here, you can tell that it's a bit gray outside, but it still managed to pull the contrast, the highlights and the sky and just the right level of shadows is still being pulled in the right way that it doesn't look over-processed or horrible. Even ultra-wide-angle camera, which normally doesn't have a lot of detail, thanks to that level of megapixel count, it retains a lot of detail in there, so you can capture wider shots and capture those architecture, landscape kind of stuff. You can have it in there as well. Videos are good as well when it comes to stability, so you can walk and record videos without having too much jittering or anything like that. It just works really well. You can pan and all that kind of stuff. Looks really cool. In some photos, I find that they look a bit colder, but I don't know if that's just because of the weather, but I think it's picking the blue tint or the tone from the photos and making it colder than I would like it. But these are the things that you can edit in post edit. So you can change that afterwards if you want to. Portrait shots are good as well. It picks the detail in terms of the edge detection on this bottle, for example, here, coffee cup here, rather than bottle. It works really well in picking the edges, which can be quite difficult because the colors are quite close to what's in the background and even the foreground as well. So it's done a good job there at keeping it nice and separated. Zoom is good as well. Anything past about 5x, you start to notice where it's using too much AI to try and fix it. But if you ignore that and just use 3x or just a standard 1x and so on, really good job on the cameras, and it's something that I've been using and I really enjoy using the camera on this. The Honor Magic V5 is not just about the hardware. The hardware looks really good. It's nice and thin, you know, the crease is barely there, but you will see when the light shines or shimmers against it. But once you start using apps on it and stuff like that, you most likely won't even notice it. You'll forget it and you get used to it and so on and so forth. So hardware is good, thumbs up. But the other side of it is software. It has a lot of software features, especially when it comes to AI. Before we get into that though, let's talk about the performance because the performance is obviously important. So running Snapdragon 8 Elite, this works really well. It's very fluid, no hiccups at all. I've been using this for a minute and honestly, when I say a minute, I've been using it for a while. And basically, there's no hiccups at all. When it comes to gaming, it runs your games very well. I've been playing Call of Duty here with no hiccups, no issues at all. It doesn't get hot as well. When it gets hot, it's only when I'm charging it sometimes, or also when I'm just doing a lot of like setting up and installation and all that kind of stuff. Then it gets a bit warm, but not alarmingly warm. So Call of Duty runs really well, no issues there. You know, you got a decent amount of RAM in there as well. So I think it's 16 gigabytes of RAM. And in terms of storage, we're talking 512 gigabytes in there as well. So more than enough again to store all your photos, videos. It's running on Android OS 15 and also Magic OS 9.0.1. Obviously, when you guys get this, you might have updates. In terms of how protective they've created this, in terms of durability. So the inner screen has Honor Super Armored inner screen and the external display has Honor Anti-Scratch nano crystal shield on there, so this should last long, especially if you're going to be putting it in your bags, pocket and all that kind of stuff. You shouldn't have to worry. It also comes with a screen protector pre-installed as well, so I've peeled it off because I just want the full quality of that display, but you can leave it on there and that will add extra protection for the display. But back to that performance though, I also ran Geekbench 6 scores on here and it does really well in terms of the performance. So we're talking 3,640 more to score and 921 in terms of that single score. And then when I go back out and look at a GPU score, so Vulkan is 15,244 and the OpenCL score is 11,122. So again, does really well in terms of the graphics and that shines through when it comes to generally just using the device, but as well as when it comes to gaming and so on. Back on that software that I was talking about at the start, this actually has a lot of AI features, which is actually pretty cool. So before that, when it comes to the software, you can run 3 apps at the same time and it allows you to also save those layout for quick layout as well. So you can quickly tap the layout, you can add all your apps, so it's like frequently used apps, you can have them in those layouts. So that way you can quickly open them up. So for example, I tend to open my Google Chrome, email and calendar all the time, roughly at the same time. So I'd have that open straight away just at the tap of a button, which is pretty cool. Having apps as well in 3 areas is very easy. So you tap your first app to open it up and then you can go up and then slide another app next to it. So maybe messaging can go right next to it. And then you can drop one to a drop zone and then you can have an extra app loaded on the side. So now that way you have 3 apps just comfortably just running side by side with no issues at all. It's so smooth and there's no qualms at all using it all at the same time, which I really like. And then once you're done, you can close it. You can also switch how they are as well. So you can tap in the middle and have horizontal split. So you can have that at the bottom, the other one at the top, or you can have it as vertical split side by side, which I think is pretty cool. It just means it gives you the flexibility to be able to have your apps just the way that you want it. And then when we talk about those AI features, the best way to show this is if I go into settings and I go into Honor AI. So in Honor AI, you can see all the available functions you can have. So you have AI suggestions, you got Magic Sidebar, Magic Text, Magic Portal, AI Subtitles, AI Translate, Core Translation, AI Writing, AI Deepfake Detection, which is good, especially if you're going to give this to someone who's not very tech savvy, who might not understand that something might be fake, especially on phone calls, for example, or video calls. You'd be able to use AI deepfake detection to detect those things. It just comes up on the sidebar, very easy to use, very straightforward, so you can start using it. You also have things like when you start editing photos, you'll be able to use AI to generate different things and edit different things. So you can remove stuff from your image. For example, I was wearing this side bag on this picture here. I was able to then remove it using that AI remover tool. And then that was a rough thing that I did very quickly while I was reviewing this. But if I actually spend some time and actually sat there and go to the minute levels, I can even remove even more on here. But as it stands, I think you can sort of get the gist. Is very, very good in terms of the way that it just removes that side bag, and now you can't tell that was wearing it. So that's pretty cool. So that's some of the stuff you can do on here. Plenty of AI features. The software is really decent, actually. I think in comparison to the Z Fold 7, Z Fold 7 has more customization opportunity and more multitasking feature in terms of how many apps you can run at the same time compared to this one. But I think it still does the job really well. So overall, I think really good software. Battery life is really good. I was getting a day and then just a bit more. And then I don't have to have it on power saving like I normally do on my Z Fold 7, which I have to have power saving on all the time to be able to use my battery all day long, just about. But other than that, though, yeah, really good battery life, good software, good processing power, good charge speed. There's so much that's good about it. So if the pricing is right for you, then this is definitely one to consider for sure. And 7 years supports as well. I think that's decent to have. But overall, really good device. Not much bad things to say about it. That's a big camera bump on the back, which, yeah, can be annoying. But you can get a case for it to balance it out if you want to as well. But other than that, I really like this color as well. Really cool. Nice and sleek. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, drop them there as well. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.